All right, if you are an advanced user of pre-workouts, this is not for you. If you are a beginner, this is gonna be for you. You may not have had caffeine before, or you've had some experiences and it's not so good. So when you don't have any caffeine, that's a starting point you should have with pre-workouts, because pre-workouts can have varying levels of caffeine. It can go from no caffeine all the way up to 600 milligrams of caffeine combined with other stimulants. You may have had an experience where you take an energy drink or coffee and you feel jittery, anxious, you just don't feel good, right? If you do like pre-workouts, I would recommend that you start with a non-stimulant pre-workout, because then you can use something that has nothing and you can experiment with ingredients that you can find out, like if a pre-workout bothers you or you think it might, by starting without any stimulants, you can have a foundation of like what works for you. Because a pre-workout can have other sensations other than the stimulant that it has. So when you get that tingly feeling in your arms and everything just feels itchy, the beta-alanine in there gives you that feeling. And some people like it. They feel more powerful with it. And this alone this was actually my first pre-workout for myself when I was starting out. So when you're taking something like that and you feel good on it, or you don't feel good on it, you'll find out. Because if a pre-workout doesn't have any caffeine, but you're feeling kind of anxious and jittery, and the beta-alanine is giving you these tingles, or maybe there's some other ingredients that you're not having a good reaction to, it would be a good idea to start with something without any caffeine. So which pre-workout? Well, this video isn't really about like a specific pre-workout, but off the top of my head, if you're looking for something that's as natural as possible and you can handle natural flavors and sweeteners like stevia, and you don't feel any nausea when you do take those kind of ingredients, then I would recommend something from Transparent Labs, like Bulk. Their Bulk pre-workout is perfect for a lot of people. But again, this is not about a specific pre-workout. That has caffeine. So without caffeine, you would consider something like Pump, although I noticed it's not in stock, so maybe you'll consider something like Pump Serum from Huge Supplements. So with a lot of caffeine levels in different pre-workouts, you want to start as low as possible, and you want to keep it as low as possible, because the more you take, it's a rabbit hole. When you go down that rabbit hole, you'll find yourself digging that hole deeper and deeper. The more caffeine you take, the more energy you get, but you're borrowing that energy. The energy isn't free. You're borrowing it from the bank. The bank is loaning you that energy, and then you may feel tired, less energy, and you're not as performative as you should be, not only not in the gym, but also in life. Like, you feel slower, and so it's best to keep it as low as possible and keep it find a level that works for you. So I would, if you had no caffeine, you start with a no caffeine pre-workout, but you want caffeine, then I would recommend 200 milligrams of caffeine, which is a nice starting point if you've had some experiences with coffee. So 200 milligrams, maximum 300. 300 was like the upper limit 10 years ago. Now it's more like 500. So with everyone using pre-workouts, the limits just seem to increase because there's more demand for stronger stuff. But again, stronger stuff does not mean better workouts. I've had better workouts with a 300 milligrams caffeine pre-workout versus something like 600 milligrams. And there's like other factors, like humidity, the weather, it could be hot and it could be harder to perform. So using that kind of pre-workout where you find a level that works for you and you stick to that. And you don't use it every day, but you can like increase it slowly if you find yourself not responding. But it's a slippery slope once you go down that hole of finding something stronger and stronger. So if you find a pre-workout strong for you, find something a little bit weaker or something else you can use in between so you don't build a tolerance, which is a whole other thing. When you take 200 milligrams of caffeine today, and you feel energetic. The next day you take it, it's not as potent, or you feel like it doesn't hit you as hard. And that's when you take something weaker so you can like manage that tolerance. So with all that in mind, it's best to start as low as possible and manage your tolerance by not taking it every day. And how often can you take it? You probably don't need a pre-workout for every workout, but if you use something like a non-stimulant, you're going to be able to take that for every workout without a problem, in between the caffeine pre-workouts. I hope this answers the questions you might have at like what level of caffeine you should start at. And if you're scared of caffeine and you're taking caffeine, like a pre-workout with caffeine for the first time, and you feel jittery and anxious normally, then you can consider something like theanine, a calming ingredient that is combined with caffeine to help calm those nerves, which is also in bulk by Transparent Labs, a pre-workout that's naturally flavored, and it has theanine, and it has vitamin B, so it has everything needed for a good workout. If you don't get bulk, you can look at it as a standard for what you look for in a pre-workout. Don't fall for marketing. It's always the ingredients. There's no magic in ingredients. There's always science. Don't fall for the marketing. If someone really wants you to buy a pre-workout, don't buy it. That's the general rule. Find something that works for you. Hopefully it's manageable, because then you can use it reliably and almost daily. So yeah, I hope this helps. Start as low as possible and keep it as low as possible. And if you need something stronger, be careful and take it step by step. Look at the total caffeine of the pre-workout. That gives you the general idea. The caffeine is the biggest source of energy. Everything else, like, is extra, and it may contribute, or it would contribute to the energy. But in general, if a pre-workout has 200 milligrams of caffeine, it's less likely to have so much other stuff that it's a crazy pre-workout. The lower, the better. Higher is not always better. I hope this helps.